Good morning and welcome to Rose Red Homestead. We are so glad to have you here, and we especially welcome our new subscribers. We're getting lots of new subscribers every day, and we really appreciate you joining our community. We're pretty impressed with our community. This is a great group of people who are kind and so helpful to one another, and we all learn from each other. And so we have this distributed expertise that runs through our entire community. And people with expertise in a lot of different areas will make comments and are helpful so that we can all learn from each other. So it is toward the end of October. And we're in the fall season. Holiday season is coming up, and my thoughts always turn to family and baking and making special dishes. We have our traditional dishes that we always make regardless, but I like to experiment around with other things that we sometimes can add. The news feed on my phone is filling up with all kinds of things, with recipes and foods and all kinds of suggestions for the holiday season. And one from Martha Stewart just caught my eye, where she says she only uses one type of bread for making sandwiches for leftover holiday meals, particularly for turkey. Well, of course, I had to check that out. And it turns out that that bread that she uses is called Japanese milk bread. And as I read about that bread, it supposedly is a fantastic bread, like a cloud. It is very soft. It is really good for French toast. I guess it's really good for using your leftovers of turkey sandwiches with a little bit of cranberry sauce. And ooh, my mouth is watering already. So I decided that we should do Japanese milk bread on our channel so that we can have the right kind of bread for our leftovers. And it uses a Japanese method that is a little bit different from the regular breads that we usually make. And I thought, oh, that's great. It's an opportunity for us to learn something new. And so I am using the recipe for Japanese milk bread from King Arthur. And I will put that link underneath the description for this video so you can click on the link and get the recipe as well. So the first thing that it has us do is to make what is called a tangzhong. And I looked up the pronunciation of that and hope that I'm saying it close to right. But here's what it is. In a small saucepan, you put 3 tablespoons of water, 3 tablespoons of milk, whole milk is preferred, and 2 tablespoons of King Arthur unbleached bread flour. And then you just whisk this around until it is all combined. And then we're going to put this over on the stove, and we're going to cook it over medium-low until it thickens into a very soft paste. And that's what the tangzhong is, a soft paste of cooked flour. So we're going to do that, and you can see what it looks like. So we're supposed to whisk this until it becomes a soft paste, and you can see the markings of the whisk on the bottom of the pan. And we are there. So I'm just going to leave this on the counter. It's supposed to cool down. It won't take that very long to cool down, so we'll just leave it alone while we start mixing up the rest of the bread. So for the bread, it calls for 300 grams, 2.5 cups or 300 grams of King Arthur unbleached bread flour. I'm a big fan of King Arthur flours. I use 2 types of their flour. I use the regular unbleached all-purpose, and also this unbleached bread flour. So we're going to turn our scale on, make sure that it's registering grams. Okay, and then back here it goes. And then we continue with 2 tablespoons of non-fat dry milk. So I'm just using and of course they would prefer you to use their brand, their special non-fat dry milk, but we're going to use what we have on hand. Next is 1/4 cup of sugar. A teaspoon of salt. 1 tablespoon of yeast, and this goes right back in the freezer. Here is a half a cup of whole milk, 1 egg, and 4 tablespoons of this softened butter. Now we're going to be adding the tangzhong to the mixture. And we're going to just let that mix for a couple of minutes. Now that we are mixed, we're going to be moving the roller off to the side and turning up the speed. So we need to mix that until a soft and elastic dough is created. And it may take a few minutes for this to happen, so we'll be back when we're ready to take it out. So I wanted you to see how beautifully this mixer kneads dough. So it is done. I'm going to turn it off. Now I did have to add a couple of tablespoons of additional flour in order to make it form into a ball. I did it very gradually until I was just barely into a ball. And notice that the bowl is just almost completely clean. So this is beautifully kneaded. It's very soft. So I'm going to put it in our proofing container. It says to form it into a ball and cover it and leave it. I usually do this so that I can monitor with the measurements on the side when it is puffing up. Now we don't need to wait until this is double, just until it is nice and puffy. And according to the recipe, that should take an hour to an hour and a half. So we will be back when it's all puffy and it has risen this first time, and then we will do what comes next. Well, we have been a little more than an hour and a half, and it certainly isn't double, but it is puffy. So we're going to go ahead and take it out and deflate it just a little bit. I'm going to weigh it, see how much it weighs. Okay, so what we're wanting to do is to divide this into 4 equal pieces that are about 170 each. So let's see how we do. 170 to 175. $170 on the nose, 180, $172, 183, 75, okay, so we have our 4 lumps that are just about the same. So now we pat them out into a rectangle that is 5 by 8. And then we fold it up into thirds like a letter. Into a 3 by 6. And then we roll the 3 by 6 like this. And place it in our pan. So I will finish doing this, and then I will show you what it looks like when we're done. So this is what it looks like. And we are going to cover this and let it rise for, the directions say, for about 50 minutes. And then we're going to put it in the oven. So we'll see you then. These have puffed up nicely after an hour, 50 minutes to an hour. In fact, it's just almost an hour. And they're not up high the way our bread usually is, but I'm going to follow the recipe exactly. We're putting these in at 350 right now for about 30 minutes. So we'll see how they do. Unbelievable. I am surprised. I'm a little speechless because I wasn't sure that those little tiny rolls were going to rise up to have this much volume. So this is just fantastic. So we are going to let this loaf cool, and then we will come back and try it out later. I am really speechless. So it took, it looks a little brown, but I think it'll be just fine. It needed to get up to temperature of 190 before I took it out, and so that's what happens. You can tell right here by the way this rose that it was a late riser, and so it pulled the dough up there just a little bit, and that's just fine. It won't hurt a thing. But Jim and I are headed out to do some errands, and when we come back, this loaf will be completely cool, and at that time we will cut into it and check out the crumb and the taste. So we will see you then. Well, we're back from our errand. It took a little longer. We've been gone about 3 hours, so this is completely cooled. So let's go ahead and give it a slice and see what it looks like on the inside. It cuts really nicely. Oh, look at that. Beautiful crumb.
Oh, there it is. Okay. It's nice.
Yeah, it does. Oh, it feels so different. Oh my goodness. It's very light. Very tender. Delicious. Absolutely delicious. It has a little bit of a different taste to it. The crust is really nice too. I can certainly see how this bread would make wonderful leftover sandwiches with turkey. So we'll have to try it. Meanwhile, we will devour this loaf in just 2 or 3 days, I think. It's marvelous. And it was very easy to do. Next time, I will brush it with milk, as the directions said. I didn't do that. And so it would be a little bit shinier surface right here. But other than that, I think that it has turned out fantastic, just absolutely fantastic, with such a beautiful, beautiful crumb. So I hope you try this and that you enjoy it as much as we will. So thank you so much for being with us, and we will see you very soon for more videos.